We've got plenty to talk about after week one of the NBA. The OKC Thunder become the first team to go double overtime in their first two games of the season. Giannis, first player to go 60, 30 and 10 in the first two games. Luka's the first player to go back-to-back consecutive games of 40, 10 and 5. There's plenty happening, and I didn't even talk about Wemby. Let's get into that. G'day everybody, welcome back to the Ball Logic Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Week one behind us, week two, we're right in the thick of it right now, but we're here to talk to you about what we learnt from week one and maybe a little buy low, sell high chat. I'm with Horse and Kingy. Horse, how you been, mate? What's been happening?
Oh, not a great deal, thank you, mate. In our Insight Content Creators League, I went down to Kingy last week, 4-5, so he's got one up on me.
Do you ever win 6-3, Kingy, or is it 5-4 in every league?
It's pretty rare. I think I maybe got a couple of 6-3 wins last week, but generally it's win 5-4 or lose 5-4. So
it was back and forward every day, and then Wemby blocks got me at the end.
There you go. Yeah. And Kingy, you had the first pick in that league too, didn't you? And you took Wemby over Jokic, and it seemed to get you a win in week one at least.
Yeah, he was handy. 19 blocks in 3 games is it helps, doesn't it? And then he had one yesterday. So if you'd caught me on a 1-game block night, maybe you would have got me. But I'm actually winning 7-2 this week. So there you go.
Oh, wow.
It's very early in the week, obviously.
There you go.
But I'm always curious when I look at the. When I look at the box scores, I'm against Matrix actually. When I look at the scores and if I see that I'm up 6-3 or 7-2, I'm always very curious to know what other category I'm leading in, because I'm usually so bad in those other categories that if I'm winning, then the other team must just have their whole roster out. So I'm actually beating him in assists and points this week and free throws. But winning free throws, he's shooting 64% as a team from the line. So there you go.
That'll hurt. That'll hurt. It's
yeah.
The message is you didn't punt hard enough, Kingy, and you're not losing the category by enough. That's the message here. You're going to have to go harder next year.
Lesson learned, punt harder.
Guys, hit the subscribe and the like and the follow and the hype and do all those things, because it does help us get the shows out to more people. If you do want to support the show, it does mean a lot. We appreciate you hopping on and listening every week. We're going to go through and talk to you about what we learned from week one. A bit of an unstructured chat. We'll talk about buy low and sell high candidates as well across the league. Kingy, kick us off, mate. We haven't had a podcast for a couple of weeks with you, mate, so there's a fair bit that's happened in between now and then. Talk to us. Who's impressed you? Who's let you down? What's been happening in week one?
I'm always going to go back to the guys that I was high on.
Can I guess?
They're front of mind. You can guess, sure.
Keyshawn George.
Yeah, let's start with him. That's a good place to start. They just finished, the Wizards. Their game just finished about, an hour ago or something. So, started the season red hot, came back to earth in their third game, and then today was very good again. So, I'm certainly happy with the investment that I had in him, and it looks like even when Koulibaly comes back, surely he starts, and he's, as I had hoped, his offensive growth is sort of where I think a lot of his improvement in terms of value is going to come from, because he was a good defender last year. He'll get some assists, good rebounder, but scoring the basketball is something that I was hoping would develop, and it looks as though it has. He's certainly confident on that end of the floor now.
He's been fantastic. We knew that obviously the shooting isn't going to be sustainable, shooting 55, 60% from three. You're not going to keep that up. But in saying that, it looks like he's got a lot more confidence on the offensive end, and they're giving him, I wouldn't say giving him the keys, but definitely giving him much more opportunity there too, which is great. So, and a guy that fills the stat sheet. Horse. What's happening in Horseland, mate? Who's impressed you? Who's let you down?
Who's impressed me? Austin Reeves. So you look at what he's doing in Lakerland, and they've got injuries galore going on. But I guess with a not very good DeAndre Ayton getting around and all the injuries that they've got, he's making basketball look pretty easy at the moment with the amount of points he's putting up, the rebounds, the assists, he's getting steals. Turned the ball over a bit over yesterday against Portland, but that's because he was getting double teamed all the way up the court and then basically guarded face up from as soon as he crossed half court. So for him to still drop 40 odd, like it's just remarkable for someone that was drafted so late or picked up so late into the Lakers system, worked his way through as a bench player, and now, you know, Lakers are looking pretty good for when LeBron eventually does retire to have the Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves 1-2 punch there.
Absolutely, 100%. He's got another couple of games at least this week, doesn't he, when he gets to be the guy? We talked about the stats on the Supercoach show about how good he is without Luka and LeBron in the team. Averaging, I think it was 40 points and 10 boards and 8 assists or something in those games. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes. I think the Lakers are playing right now, so we'll have to check in at the end of the show and see how he's going. Mine, I've got a couple of options. Mine, though, first of all, is Tyrese Maxey. He has started red hot. People were pretty keen to take him around that kind of 13 to 16 mark. Honestly, he's looking like a first-round pick at the moment. I know it's very early, but he's got the team on his back. VJ Edgecombe obviously has done a great job there as well, but this is Tyrese Maxey's team. Joel Embiid's been in and out of the lineup. He's averaging 37 points a game and nearly eight assists with a steal. So a lot to like there with Tyrese Maxey. So if you got him in the second round, you're getting value back plus there. All depends on what happens with Paul George and how that all looks when he comes back too. Because Kelly Oubre Jr., honestly, has been good, if not better, than what Paul George has been able to put up over the last couple of years too. So I'm really interested to see what that rotation looks like when Paul George is back in the lineup. He'll sit back-to-backs and he'll have regular rests, but I don't know whether VJ Edgecombe deserves to drop out of that lineup. So I'm interested to see how they play that and whether Paul George just goes to the 4. Yeah, definitely a keen look. What else is happening, Kingy? You reckon? I was going to say Giannis got a mention at the top of the show. Wemby got a mention at the top of the show. Luka did. Mm-hmm. They're all obvious ones. Who else? Who's been flying under the radar a bit for you?
Yeah, a lot of the obvious ones, as you touched on there. There's a few guys. I mean, the rankings are pretty wacky at this time of the year. Someone else that I was pretty high on, I seem to get him in a lot of spots. I think I was maybe I wasn't higher on him. I think I was just ignoring the shutdown risk maybe a little bit more than others. And that's Walker Kessler. So I was pretty happy taking him at pick 50, which got a little bit of kickback. Not a whole lot, but I mean, he's the 11th ranked player. Again, rankings make of them what you will. But he's averaging basically 17 and 10 with 4 combined steals and blocks. Now, are those numbers going to stick? Probably not. He's also shooting 85% from the field. That's probably not going to stick either. But I think he's looked really good. I think the Jazz as a whole have looked competitive, at least, which is nice. A few teams actually have looked competitive, not necessarily winning all their games, but even the Wizards. They're only, I think they're 1-3 now, but they don't look overawed. They look sort of ready to compete. Along with the Hornets. Losing Brandon Miller hurts the Hornets. We saw today they were beaten pretty comfortably by a Miami team that honestly shouldn't really be challenging for anything this year with their roster. So, yeah, I think that's, if we're looking at a sort of a wholesale takeaway, it is that some of those lower teams look ready to compete. And hopefully that means that they do push these players a little bit more early in the season. Brooklyn, they're on an island by themselves. I don't know what category we put Brooklyn into, but
they're tanking wins. Yeah, they're done.
Yeah. Brooklyn are bad. Phoenix look really bad as well. They will get Jalen Green back potentially tomorrow, I believe, so that will help. But yeah, I think Walker Kessler, he looks the part. He's playing big minutes. He's doing exactly what I drafted him for. So, yeah, happy with my investment in him as well.
Absolutely, Horse. Who else is on your mind, mate?
I'm going to go a little left field here for those that like to troll the waiver wire, so to speak. But if Jamie Jaquez Jr. from the Miami Heat is sitting there, I would highly encourage you to go and grab him. The last 3 games alone, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Another game, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Today against Charlotte, 28 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. He's doing a bit of everything and could be very valuable, especially early on in the season for you.
Yeah, I like it. I think obviously with Norm Powell out, that provides a bit more opportunity. How long he's out is the question mark, and whether, how far away Hero is. Davion Mitchell's been great out there as well, like way better than I would have given him credit. Ryan Rowlands is a guy, I've seen him in your little tag there, Kingy.
Yeah.
He is a guy that's put his hand up since KPJ's been out. I picked him up in 2 out of 3 leagues. Pretty happy with what he's been able to do, especially today. He had a bit of a breakout today, didn't he? 20-odd points.
He was really good.
4 assists, 4 boards, 4 steals. Like, he was awesome. So, and not surprised. He did this at the back end down the stretch last year too. So, quality player, definitely very underrated, Ryan Rowlands. I want to talk about the Hawks in general. As a Hawks fan, should I get my frustrations out on a podcast? That's what it's for, isn't it? I just feel like Dyson Daniels is also, but he's been quite poor to start the season. I think he is a really good buy low candidate right now for anybody looking for some stocks. And obviously, if he fits your build, he'll get you a couple of threes. Dyson Daniels, I'm sure there are some frustrated owners out there with Dyson Daniels in their roster. I reckon you could buy low on him, and you might be able to get lucky somewhat. Zachary Ricochet also borderline droppable with how good Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been off the bench. He seems to be a guy that might be pushing that starting lineup. If Ricochet can't really get into a groove with the 4 other starters, I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker could be a guy on waivers that if he's sitting there, not a bad target as well. Talk to us about Ryan Rowlands, mate. You've got him in your tag, Kingy. You impressed?
I do. Yeah, I do. I was watching him today, and I have him in pretty much every dynasty league that I'm in, and picked him up in a few leagues, drafted him in a couple of spots really late this season, and talked about him a lot. Just obviously we had that battle for point guard minutes in Milwaukee with Cole Anthony and Kevin Porter Jr. And Porter Jr. was the favourite and seemingly had that spot until he got injured. But I was pretty vocal about thinking that Ryan Rowlands was easily their best defensive option at point guard, and hopefully would get a crack at some point. I didn't think it would come in was it the second game?
No.
Whenever Porter got injured very early.
It's 9 minutes into the season, yeah.
There you go, yeah. So it came a lot quicker than I thought, but I think he's pretty comfortably ahead of Cole Anthony at the moment. Today could have been even better. He actually left the game after about 2 minutes with a split lip, and didn't come back on until right at the end of the first quarter. And he started well. He hit his first 2 threes and was defending Jalen Brunson really well. So, yeah, today was a career night for him, a career high, I believe, 25 points with 4 steals. He's confident, which I think is a big bonus for someone like Ryan Rowlands, who's sort of been trolling his way through the league for 4 years now, waiting for an opportunity. So, I've just really enjoyed watching him play with confidence and the confidence of his teammates as well. So pretty happy. And if you landed him off the waiver wire, you have to be thrilled with what he's giving you thus far.
Absolutely. Who are your other waiver wire gems, Horse? What's the easy pickups out there?
Tari Eason is someone that surprised me. So after the first week, 2-game week for Houston, didn't really do anything, really struggled with the ball in hand, looked like his confidence was lost. Yesterday, came out, 20-odd points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 threes, looked really good. And that's without his defensive stats. So I would suggest if Tari Eason is floating around on your wires, go and grab him.
Yeah, Kingy, it's one of those things where, like, a lot of people, it's a very reactive game, isn't it? You know, you draft a guy, they've been shit for 2 games, now I'm going to drop them. You know, but you've got to look at historical averages. You've got to look at, over the last couple of years, Tari Eason's been getting better and better. And guys like that, you see him on your waiver wire, you've just got to snag them because they could potentially be season-long holes. How do you approach early in the season? Your first week or two, do you take a look or are you quite aggressive on the waiver wire early?
I'm aggressive in terms of just keeping an eye out because people do panic, and I put this. I feel like I put it on Twitter every year that people overreact in the first week, and it's for a number of reasons. It's obviously a very reactionary game because they're playing every night. This isn't a one game a week kind of thing, so it is very easy to overreact because, the amount that you feel like you're seeing in a week is more than if it was an NFL team where you're only seeing this player for one game. So it sort of makes sense, but I generally preach a bit of patience. As you said with Tari Eason, he started the season badly. Dyson Daniels started the season badly, but we have a big enough sample size of these guys to know that they're going to turn things around. And it's also, I think, a reason or a situation where people do overreact is just managing expectations. So if you draft a guy, and I'm thinking of Keyshawn George here. So you probably drafted him at 120 or something like that. And he was amazing for those first two games. Expectations go from top 100 to top 50 in 3 days. And then he has a bad game and everyone goes, oh, this guy sucks. Why did I draft him? So it is easy to forget. But yeah, I usually try to hang on to my core players. Wherever, like Tari Eason, I didn't consider dropping him anywhere, even though he was terrible. But you can then pick up players off the waiver wire, like I picked up Ryan Rowlands off the waiver wire. Jaime Jaquez, who Horse mentioned, I picked him up in a league as well. And I would say as well, if you're punting, sorry, this is a really long answer. If you're punting certain categories, it's a situation, I think, where you can almost ignore your punt to just grab a really sort of key player, a hot player, throw them in your roster for a week, and then look to trade them. Just because they don't fit your build doesn't mean you don't want to pick them up. Because you could use them as trade bait in a week or two to actually get someone that fits. So if there's someone sitting on your waiver wire and you don't need blocks, but they're a shot blocker, just grab them and just hold them, move them on. But yeah, I try to stay patient, but do watch the waiver wire because people do make some stupid decisions.
It's going to happen. It happens every year. It's impossible not to. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't made some impulsive decisions in past seasons, but I think my overall tactic is to just hold fire for a week at least. I just want to see how wrong I was in preseason. If I was completely wrong, I'll admit defeat, but it'll take me a couple of weeks to admit defeat, just because the last thing that you want is to drop a guy that's red hot. They start really slowly like a Dyson Daniels. You get the shits, you trade him away, and then he just turns into what we know he can do. And the reason you drafted him at 40 or 45 or wherever it was, the last thing you want to do is get rid of him there in that spot. And again, we talk about this in mock drafts and all through the preseason, that if you go and your last two picks in your draft, punt them. Doesn't matter if it's not working out, because obviously they're deeper guys. They're not top 100 picks. So, you can stream the waiver wire with those last couple of rounds of picks. That's completely fine. But we're talking about, your guy you picked up at 104, or the guy that you picked up. Bradley Beal is a really good example of a guy that I've been tempted to get rid of this week, just out of pure frustration. Got him in a couple of spots. I'm going to hold fire. I've got an IR in that league, so thankfully I can just hold him and just hope that something comes good. He's been on a minutes restriction, so he's been pretty poor. But we know historically he's going to be much better when he comes back and when he gets a string of games together. So, mate. Horse, we've talked a little bit about Trey Jones in the chat. He has been nearly the waiver pickup of the year so far, at least to start the season. How good's he been to start the year for the Bulls? Obviously, Kobe White's been out. He's been the main beneficiary there.
And he will continue to be until Kobe White gets back. And even then, he might be a pretty nice sort of bench player for the Bulls. But what is it, 4 steals a game he was averaging at one stage there? Just unreal. Getting points, getting rebounds, getting assists, getting steals, shooting good percentages. Just green ticks across the board when you're talking fantasy basketball. He's not the household name that you're looking to chase, or he's not a big name player in a big city where basketball's thriving like LA, but yeah, you could definitely do worse than Mr. Jones from Chicago.
Absolutely. 8.5 assists, 3.5 steals a game. And also, he's been shooting 5-20 from the field too. So he's been incredibly good. Who else have you been looking at, Horse? What's what's standing out to you now? We're coming into week 2, obviously. We've got a bit more data now to look at, don't we?
Yeah. Injuries and how injuries impact our season and the way that we should use the waiver wire. So for those that went out and picked up a Tyler Hero in the 50s or 60s or 70s or wherever you might have got him and you're waiting for him to come back, or if you've got Benedict Mathurin, or if you've got these players that have been hurt during the season, it's a really delicate act between, holding on to them, especially if there's no IR. If there's IR, then you're fine. But if you've got a no IR league, then it's really delicate as to whether you've got to let them go and pick someone up or whether you just ride the wave and maybe take a couple of defeats. So one big thing that I'd like to bring up for those at home is that check your settings, make sure you've got IR, because injuries happen all over the place. If you've got IR, utilize it, use it, and then pick up players off waivers that can play, because then you can always bring your good players back. But if there's no IR, then you've pretty much just got to go with a gut feel or keep your eyes and ears on all news reports to see extent of injuries and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah, let's stay on the injury replacement topic, Kingy. Who's been the main kind of guy that you've seen there that's taken the biggest bump due to injury? Like Colin Sexton looks like he's in a pretty good spot with Brandon Miller going to miss some time, and I ended up drafting him at the back end of a draft, I think. Can't remember which one it was. Might have actually been the League of Insight, actually. But he's been fantastic since we picked him up. Moses Moody, another guy that could get some burn if Przemski misses some time. Who's been the big standout for you injury-wise?
A guy we just spoke about, Trey Jones, is one with Kobe White out. He's obviously just slotted it straight in. And it's interesting. I talked about this. I was on one of my shows about the fact that it's getting harder nowadays to actually find one-for-one replacements. So if a player goes down with an injury, it isn't always as simple as, okay, now this player is just going to play 35 minutes as a starter. It just doesn't happen. Teams are more flexible. They're built around multi-positional basketball. And so it's usually a handful of players that play some more minutes. Someone will go from an 8-minute role to a 20-minute role, but that doesn't mean they're a must-roster player. Trey Jones was one that I think he's just seamlessly sort of slotted into that starting role. Colin Sexton, as you said, is another one. Indiana, God knows, like there were players, but now they're all injured as well. So it's really hard to know who to target in Indiana. Injuries. I'm trying to think who else is sort of recent injuries. I mean, they happen so much, don't they? That you lose track of.
Ryan Rollins and Trey Jones are the two that are the probably two standouts, aren't they? Yeah,
I think so.
I'm interested to see if Brunson's out long term, what the outlook looks like. If he is out for a couple of weeks, what the outlook looks like for Miles McBride or Jordan Clarkson or someone like that. I feel like Juice could be the guy that benefits there in that situation. He's been great so far this year as well.
It's hard to know with the Knicks because we've just in the past we just haven't seen it because Tom Thibodeau wouldn't go in deep into his rotation. So it will be a different situation this season. Another one is the Anthony Edwards injury, I suppose, which isn't necessarily sort of making a player go from unrosterable to rosterable. Mike Conley started, and we're not rostering Mike Conley, but it has given Dante DiVincenzo a clearer path to putting up big numbers. So he was someone that was rostered anyway, but he goes from being a top 120 player to maybe a top 80 or top 70 player if everything goes to plan. And Anthony Edwards is out for, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. So there's going to be a window here for someone like a Dante DiVincenzo, and you sit on him, and then maybe in 2 weeks you look to move him before Anthony Edwards comes back and see what happens.
Yeah, Jalen Green not playing has given Grayson Allen a little bit of burn, just a kind of more of a streamer, if anything, to start the year. And with Jalen Green back, I think from tomorrow, that pipe dream ends, sadly, for anybody with Grayson Allen. He can become droppable now. Maybe not quite a replacement for an injury, but obviously a rookie that's done more than we expected him to. Maybe not more than Matrix expected him to, is Cedric Coward. He's had some really good games, hasn't he, to start the season? Obviously, temper expectations. He's not going to be able to shoot 600 from three. He's not going to maintain the shooting numbers that he's had, but it looks like until Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. come back, there's a genuine pathway to 25, 28, even 30 minutes off the bench there in Memphis, Horse.
Yeah, I love it. What was he? He was in the teens anyway, picked up by the Memphis Grizzlies. Off the bench, they've got Jalen Wells starting. They've got KCP starting. He's not as good as VJ Edgecombe, but he's just you can tell he knows basketball. He's got basketball IQ, knows how to get his defensive stats, can shoot the ball. He's got not a bad stroke. I actually expect him to be starting sooner rather than later. I think he replaces one of those two guys in the starting lineup.
Yeah, Jalen Wells has been starting pretty slow this year. He hasn't really done what we expected him to do when he did down the stretch last year. Maybe another injury beneficiary could be Dylan Harper, with De'Aaron Fox missing some time, Kingy. Dylan Harper's started really well to a point where some people are saying, the Spurs don't even need De'Aaron Fox now. Dylan Harper's been so good. You know how people love to overreact at the start of the season. But he has been fantastic.
He has been very good. I think people have forgotten how good De'Aaron Fox is, though, because he's a very good player as well. No, look, he has. I think, it's been really good for him and his development and the Spurs as a whole. But it does present them with a difficult decision once Fox is back, I think, because he's been really good. Castle has been pretty good as well.
Yeah.
I don't think Harrison Barnes is moving out of that starting lineup, whether you think he should be there or not. He seems to have won the affections of the coach and will stick in that starting lineup. So
we call it the Jeremy Grant Award.
Yeah. So it's a good problem to have, I think, and one that the Spurs haven't had for a few seasons. But the question is what happens to Dylan Harper's playing time once De'Aaron Fox, because Fox is not coming back in and playing 25 minutes. He'll come back in. I mean, they'll ease him in, but once he's back to full strength, he'll be playing 33, 34 minutes a night. So
I know it's only early, Kingy. Do you think he could potentially be a little bit of a trade bait, given how well these young guys are going and the Spurs trending towards playing some pretty good basketball with such a young lineup? Maybe they get, I don't know, picks, or whether they can get more assets out of De'Aaron Fox moving forward. I think it's quite an interesting topic.
It is. Yeah. Look, it's hard to think that they would want to do that, just given they traded for him and they see him obviously alongside Wemby. But I also don't think that they sort of were able to foresee what's happening right now and how well they're playing without De'Aaron Fox. So I'm sure that there would be discussions happening. How serious they are, I don't know. But it's, as I said, a good problem for them to have. I still think that they will want to get a good look at Fox and Wemby together, because we haven't seen it yet. Wemby was out. Fox has been out. So it's certainly probably given them another option, which they didn't expect at some point, whether it's this season or next season. But that then leads to the discussion of where do the Spurs finish this season? Because they weren't really in the discussion as a top 4 team in the West. But I mean, the way Wemby's playing, and they've still got Jeremy Sohan to come back as well. And I know he's not amazing, but he's a solid player who can play a number of roles. He's a good defender. So they're looking really good, and I have no idea what their over-under is, but I'd be sort of taking a bit of a look at the...
To start the year, it was 41.5.
Yeah, the overs on that.
Yeah, you would think so. Based on what we've seen, I think they could be a 50-win team, at least high 40s. The West is obviously loaded, which makes it tough. But, yeah, I mean, Wemby's sort of doing what we expected him to do, but I'm not sure we actually expected him to do it. We sort of have this idea in our head of this player Wemby can be, but, I think he's reached that already with just the numbers and the things he's doing on the court are incredible.
Absolute freak, isn't he? You always expect him to do the freakish stuff, but I just don't think you believe it when you see it. You just it's crazy. He is definitely in the running for MVP this year. That Keyshawn George in the running for most improved. Honestly, there's a lot of guys here that could be winning some awards at the end of the year. Jakob Poeltl, let's talk about our forgotten brothers in Canada, because Jakob Poeltl went down yesterday. Looks like back stiffness, which kind of tells me that this could be a chronic thing that might be a bit of a bugbear for him throughout the rest of the season, and there could be some injury management on its way. Which tells me there's maybe a little bit of interest in Colin Murray-Boyles getting a few more minutes out there. He balled out yesterday when he got some additional minutes. I think he played 28 minutes and got a 3 steals and a block and did some great things on the offensive end as well. I'm super interested in if he's on your waiver wire. I don't hate taking a little crack at him and seeing what comes of the Jakob Poeltl injury, because there could be some good opportunity there, especially as a guy who fills the stat sheet across the board. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out on Colin Murray-Boyles. Quick little buy low chat. Who's flown under the radar, Kingy? Someone that you've been pretty disappointed with. I know we talked about Dyson Daniels, so let's rule him out for now. Mm-hmm. Someone that you'd happily try and get now, knowing that they're going to come good come season's end.
Yeah, look, there's probably a few. And this was Noah, Ruben, and I did a question and answer or Q&A show earlier today. So we got a few questions about this topic, like cool. how bad has this guy been, and what can I look to trade away, and all that sort of thing. Cade Cunningham was one. Mm-hmm. People are, but his numbers look fine. Like it's so weird what people
one
think
bad
is
game.
Bad. Yeah. So he was one. Amen Thompson is another one who I think, with all the talk of him being a top 20 player, he has been not great, like if we're being honest, but he's getting used to playing as the point guard. We thought Reed Shepherd would potentially start, but he hasn't. So Amen Thompson is the point guard, and that's a new role for him, getting used to his teammates. So he's another one I think you could probably look to buy low. I had another one too. I'm trying to think who it was. Dyson, obviously, a very good example. While
you think of yours, I'll throw Derek White at you. And it's funny because I think we just had these massive expectations on Derek White this year. Currently he is, I mean, and I know rankings are a little bit skew-if at the moment, but he's 53rd at the moment, which is by far and away not that bad. He's shooting 900 from the field. He's 3 threes a game, 16.5 points, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, 0.8 turnovers. So literally everything that he's doing is pretty solid. But everyone seems to be disappointed with him because they expected this 25, 6, and 7 kind of role. And he obviously hasn't delivered that. I think there's going to be some people you could get Derek White off as a buy low. He's one of the targets for me in a couple of leagues at the moment. I'm trying to put a package together to get Derek White. So, he's probably mine. Horse, while Kingy's thinking of his, you got anyone?
I do. And we're sticking with the Boston Celtics. And I've actually only added him in a league this morning because I really like the projection of Josh Minott, however you pronounce his surname, from Boston. They were second last in rebounding across the league, and he smashed it the other day. He was aggressive on the boards. He looks for his three. He's good on defense. He's not going to get you assists or anything like that, but if you're looking for a 3-and-D type of player, I'm firmly keeping my eye on him.
Yeah, I like it. You get him cheap too. Probably on waivers for the most part when people get the shits with him, so you get him for free. Kingy, anyone else?
So this was one. I knew there was one that we talked about on the show this morning. So Shaden Sharp, who was... he was fairly buzzy coming into the season, especially when Scoot Henderson got injured. I think people were interested in what Shaden could do, and this could be the breakout opportunity for him. So ADP-wise, I feel like he was going sort of in near the 100. Let me have a look at what he's... So he was ADP, sort of mid-80s on Yahoo. So he was going in that 80 to 90 range. And currently, if we just look at 9cat rankings, that's my settings. So 9cat rankings, he's currently outside the top 250. And which is terrible. If you look at that on the surface, like if you've got a manager who doesn't dig into stats and just purely goes on rank, that looks terrible. A guy that you were drafting in the 7th or 8th round and he's outside the top 250. But if you look at his stats, he's doing perfectly well. 17 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1.3 threes, hasn't missed a free throw. The only issue is that he's shooting 30% from the field. So and he's not. I mean, he's not going to be an elite shooter, so don't get me wrong. But he will be better than 30%. So you push that back up to 42, 43, 44, and he's sitting at 21, 22 points a game, 2 threes, and he's probably a top 60 player. So those sorts of, especially in such a small sample size, look for those little intricacies like a defensive player who hasn't had a steal for 3 games for whatever reason. Like if Wemby were to have 3 games in a row where he averaged 0.8 blocks, something like that, people would have their arms up in the air. So, yeah, Shaden Sharp is a good example of someone that is just going through a bit of a shooting slump, but still managing to score 17 points a game. So when he figures it out, what does that look like?
He'll be nice. Yeah,
I completely agree with that. I'll leave everyone with one more waiver wire pickup guy that I'm looking at. There is the Obi Toppin injury in Indiana, and I'm doing my best not to pick Indiana players, but I tell you what, Jerace Walker could be a guy that you're going to want to have a look at. There's minutes from Obi Toppin. Obviously, what they're doing at the 4 and 5 between Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin there, they were playing some small ball stuff. They obviously don't trust either his body of Isaiah Jackson or the ability or whatever it be. They're not leaning into Jay Huff. They're never going to lean into old mate Tony Bradley. There's some minutes there for Jerace Walker. A good defender. He'll get you some steals and some blocks. And I think there's going to be some minutes for him in the near future. So definitely a guy to keep your eye on moving forward. That's about it. That'll do us. Some buy low, some sell high guys we'll talk about another day. But just what we've learnt from week 1, and we'll continue to shake up the topics with you, Kingy, every week. I reckon we'll use this Wednesday time slot to just talk about the interesting stuff rather than tell you who to pick up every single week with waiver wire pickups. It gets a bit boring, so we'll make it interesting. Drop your comments below and let us know what you want to hear from us each week, and we'll try and cater it to what you guys want as well. Thanks for joining me, guys. Been a pleasure. As always, hit subscribe, like, follow, hype, all that stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you for the next one. Catch up.